So I want to weigh in on the I Left a Good Guy videos, but from a biblical standpoint. First off, I don't know her exact situation. None of us really do. However, I can share what I personally went through, my convictions, and if it could help anybody, that would be the goal. There was a lot of reference to love and feelings, and never ever in the Bible does it say you can leave your partner because you don't feel like showing up. And the Western world has made love a feeling. But from a biblical standpoint, love is essentially the fruit of the Spirit. It is like the one thing that tops everything, because it was love that took Jesus to the cross. And could you imagine if he got to the cross and he's like, I don't feel like dying for humanity. Can I just like opt out? I don't believe that love is a feeling. I believe it's an intention, and you wake up with an intention to be the best partner, to try your very best. And when you come into problems, that's what's going to be able to overcome your problems, is the amount of love that you have invested in your marriage. And I feel like if you're going off a feeling and you don't feel like being a good wife, or you feel like you deserve more, your wanting to fight for that person is not really going to be there. Now, the Bible says that suffering produces perseverance. I'm not saying that you need to be suffering, but when you do encounter problems and you overcome them, what's the outcome? Perseverance, so that when you encounter other problems, you'll be able to overcome those as well. And I know what it's like to leave somebody, because I was that person who left. However, I did not leave the good guy. I left the lying, cheating, manipulative, and controlling guy. But after I found out he was cheating, my initial thoughts were, God, I'm going to trust in you, and maybe you want this to make us stronger. And I fought, we went to therapy, we did all these things, but it didn't work out because my partner did not want to be with me. He no longer wanted to, he wanted to have his family, but he did not mention me at any part of it. So he also used words which were feeling, I feel, and I need, and I want. And I think it's fine to have desires and needs and wants, but take them to Christ. Ask him what it is that he has in your life for you. Because I, at the time, desired my ex, who was desiring someone else. I, at the time, wanted things to work out. He did not. And so when I was in control, when I was making my own plans, I was deifying my husband, putting him on a platform that he did not deserve, nor does he belong there. And instead, in God removing my ex-husband and me having the balls to walk away from a marriage that on the outside looked cute and pretty and perfect, but really behind closed doors was abusive and manipulative and controlling, when God removed that person out of my life, I was able to plug into God. I was able to fall on only him. I had only God to rely on. I had no money. I had nothing. And I can stand here today and say that that was the right choice that I made, because now God is he is on the platform. He is the one getting all of the praise and all of the worship. And I can go on to say that he has completely healed me and my mind and my body. I am on a completely celibate journey. I am a single parent. I am doing great. But it had to take me to lose my partner to gain my soul, to lose the person that I adored the most to gain my soul. Now, I say all of that to say that I fought for a marriage that wasn't good. But there's people out here who are not even fighting for a decent marriage. And so we walk this very fine line, because it's so fine. It's like a fine hair on my head. That is the line that we walk between our selfishness and our willingness to work. I'm all for us being happy, but happiness is also fleeting. I can only tell you, trusting in the Lord is not fleeting. It is not a substitute for anything. It is the only way that you can maintain a joyful spirit and a wanting in your life and desires in your life that can be met, and gifts and an abundance and security and love and joy and just all the things. Maybe I'm just preaching to myself.
I don't know who else needs to hear this today, but leaving a marriage doesn't require your husband to be a villain. So many women come to me and say, he's not a bad guy, he loves me, but I'm miserable. And then they immediately follow it with guilt, because if he's good, then they feel like they must be the problem. Here's the truth. You can leave a good man who's a bad fit. Misalignment is enough. Loneliness inside of a marriage is enough. Carrying the emotional load alone is enough. And feeling frustrated and resentful and exhausted doesn't mean you're ungrateful. It means you've been over-functioning for a long time. A lot of women stay because they don't want to hurt him. and they're scared of the unknown. They've been together forever and they just can't picture what life would look like on the other side. But staying out of guilt slowly turns into self-abandonment, and staying out of fear just delays the inevitable pain. Yours. So if you're in this place, here's a few things you could do right now. First, separate guilt from truth, because guilt just means you care. It doesn't mean you're wrong. And then second, stop asking, is he bad enough for me to want to leave? And start asking, is this the life I want to keep living? And third, get informed, not panicked. Talk to a divorce coach, talk to a finance professional, ask a divorce attorney the real questions. Preparation breeds confidence. Give yourself permission to choose alignment over obligation. You're not the bad guy for outgrowing a relationship. You're a human, and you're allowed to want peace and partnership and happiness.
Yesterday I posted a video about how I divorced my husband after being with him for 21 years. We were married for 8 years, and how he was the good guy. And it's getting quite a bit of attention. I expected that it would. I hate when people get on here and they're like, I didn't expect that to go viral. Now it is getting way more attention than I expected it to get, but I knew it was the point of creating this account, if I'm being honest. I started my day yesterday with 79 followers, and I think I'm at like 2,600 as I'm creating this here. So let's just talk for a second, because I haven't been able to go through all the comments, but the resounding question is, what do I define as a good guy? And I'm gonna be very honest with you. Some of the stuff that I'm reading, a lot of women going through the same situation, okay? But what you all are describing and my definition of a good guy is not the same thing. Some of you. But my husband was a good guy. Like, he really was. I didn't divorce him because of anything other than I was not happy. I told him for years that he would be an excellent partner for someone, just not me. I just did not feel like we were a good fit for each other. And it was really hard to let go because we had been together for so long. And yes, one of the things I mentioned in that video was that he never told me that he loved me. And that was one of the things that I had accepted that eventually I grew to resent him for. That wasn't the reason why I left him. But it was, I've called mine and his relationship death by 1,000 cuts, because that's essentially what happened. And I plan to go into detail, but my definition of the good guy is not that he was a good guy to everybody else, and he was not a good guy to me. He was a good guy, and I take full responsibility for my part in why the relationship was the way that it was. I left because I wasn't happy. I had checked out of that relationship long before I even knew that I was unhappy. And, you know, I had a lot of people in my life, specifically my mother, who encouraged that I wait until my daughter graduated high school. Everybody had all these opinions, but nobody was in that marriage but me. I felt it was only fair that I left the minute that I realized I was unhappy. I created this account to help other women. I'm getting a lot of messages, and I'll get to the point where I'm able to really dedicate the time and attention to some of these specific questions. But my ex-husband he really was a good guy. He still is a good guy. He's just not the guy for me. And that was not an exaggeration. When I say that he quite literally did not tell me that he loved me, we'd been married 8 years, and I think our wedding day was the last time that he looked at me and said, I love you. Like, he didn't say it when he got off the phone. He didn't say it. That does not mean he did not show me in other ways that he loved me. So, it is possible for you to just simply be with the wrong person, even though that person is a good person. He is really a good person. He's going to make some woman very happy. It was just not going to be me. And I'll go into detail why. Maybe. There's a lot of people who think they know one piece of the story, and so they know the whole story. But there's 21 years of stuff to unpack here. 22 now, because in December we'll have been divorced a year. So hit the follow button if you're still here. I appreciate that. Buckle up, because we're going to talk a lot about divorcing the good guy and what that looks like. And yes, I do mean an actual good guy.
If you walked away from a partner who wasn't abusive and wasn't cheating, but you just weren't happy, this is for you. Sometimes ending a relationship has nothing to do with someone being a bad person. You can love someone and still feel completely alone in the relationship. You can respect someone and still realize you've outgrown each other. You can appreciate who they are as a person and still be exhausted because you've been carrying the entire mental load or managing the house and the kids and all of it. I have never met a woman who walked away from a good man without a fight. Usually they've tried for years. There was many conversations and asking for support and begging them for things to be different. And then somewhere along the way, you just stop hoping that things will change and you realize you have to be the one to change. So if you left a marriage that looked fine from the outside, but was slowly breaking you on the inside, you are allowed to choose your own joy and peace over duty. And you're allowed to want a partner, not a roommate. That doesn't make you selfish or dramatic or a quitter or a failure. You are growing and you are evolving as a human being. And sometimes that requires you to walk away from things that aren't growing with you anymore.
The guilt and shame from wanting to leave a man that is good but not the one, it can be debilitating. I know, because I left a 12-year relationship with a good but not the one for me man. But here's the thing, staying with them is worse for them. They deserve to be with someone who wants to be there, who loves them, who sees a future with them, who sees a life with them. If you are staying with them out of pity, out of guilt, out of feeling bad because you're not brave enough to make that decision, that's not fair to them. Let them go and give them the opportunity to go find someone that is for them, that is their person, that is sure about them. And in that, you're also going to give yourself the opportunity to find the same. So if you're feeling these feelings of guilt and shame, flip the script like that, because it's actually worse to stay with them when you don't actually want to be there.
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you.
Y'all need to go check out her video. To some, it do not make sense, but to others, it does make sense. And I'm one of them. I feel like she's correct. That's because I lived it. Now, mind y'all, I wasn't married, but I was with somebody for 5 years. Y'all, I was nothing but in toxic relationships. And I just remember just asking for somebody good to come in my life. And it's crazy how you get a good person, but now y'all not even compatible. Y'all, I tried. Our personalities, man, it just, something wasn't there. And then in the bedroom was horrible. I tried with that. That wasn't working. At the time, I wanted kids. He didn't want kids, so that was another problem. It's like, dang, all I wanted was somebody good, and here he is. I got somebody good, and we're not clicking. Y'all, I start resenting him. And I was so confused, because how can you resent a good person? They're a good person. How do you resent them? Because you got two individuals living under one roof, trying to get along, trying to, make it work. So now you got to come home to this person every day. If it's not working, it's like you don't want to be at home. It's not working. That's how you start resenting them. I remember sitting down. I remember telling him, I love you, but I love you enough to see you with somebody else. I know that don't make sense, but y'all got to actually live it to understand what I'm saying. And I remember him telling me, oh, well, you're going to regret this because I'm a good person. My mom said I'm a good person. And it just broke me. And I remember telling him, oh, you're a good person. I would never take that from you. I would never say anything bad about you. You treated me good. No complaints. It's just, we don't mesh together. We don't go good together. And it's a song that always reminded me of him. And it goes, I don't know it word for word, but it says like, I love you so much that I'm willing to let you go for you to be happy. And if you got to be with somebody else to be happy, then that's what I'm going to have to do. But as I have grown over the years, I have learned, doesn't mean because you want a good person, doesn't mean that good person is going to be compatible with you. That's what I learned.
couple days ago, I posted a video about how I divorced the good guy after being married for 8 years, but we were together for 21 years. And that's gotten quite the attention, 2 million views at this point. I have made some follow-up videos saying that I would eventually tell my story the way I want to tell it on my own terms, because that's what I came here for. I've been very apprehensive because the comment section is gnarly. And I know that the reason why I left is not the same story as a lot of people, and it is very selfish. The reason why I left was very selfish. And I'm ready for all the hate that's going to come, because I know from that comment section and from my inbox that there are so many women who are afraid to say the same thing. Let's start here. People fail to realize a man can be a good guy, a great father, but a horrible husband. The reason why I decided to pick this comment is because it's the #1 liked comment. That means a lot of people resonate with that. A lot of you are married to a good guy on the outside, but not a good guy on the inside. That was not the case. Nobody will be able to convince me on any video and any comment that my ex-husband is a bad guy. I share one tidbit of information that I considered emotional neglect and that I was settling, but I accepted about him, was that he couldn't tell me that he loved me. And that was not an exaggeration. A question that I get a lot is, did you tell him you loved him? I did, but I stopped doing that after a while. My ex-husband and I met when I was 16. We had our first child when I was 19. A lot transpired over that time. In the beginning, yes, he could tell me that he loved me. So much to unpack there, and I will go more into, what happened over the years, if that will help someone. But people are wondering, why did I leave? Why did I leave? I left because I wanted to. I left because I didn't want to be married anymore. I left because I didn't enjoy marriage. There were a lot of things wrong in that relationship, and I think that we had grown apart. I never felt like I could be myself. I never felt like I could be myself. If you go through my videos, you will see a transformation happen, and that transformation did not happen until I divorced my husband. I've never felt more like myself than I have in my entire life. I now know what love feels like. All the things that my husband did to show me that he loved me, I can do for myself. And that might be selfish. And I knew I was going to break my children's heart. And we have a lot to unpack here. But I left because I wanted to. Because essentially I was in a relationship with somebody that I really didn't even like. And I felt like he didn't like me. He was attached. 21 years is a long time. We had a lot of appearances to upkeep. There was no abuse happening. There was years and years of emotional neglect on his part and mine. We resented each other. I did him a favor. Let's start here.
Leaving a good man. Now that's hard. It's easy when they're an asshole to you or they really hurt you. It's actually easier to move on because you're upset, and sometimes that upset or that rage can give you power to move on. But what happens when you're with a good man but you feel unsatisfied and you want to leave but you're scared to leave because you're worried you're not going to find something better? I'm going to tell you how to tell it's actually time to leave. You should do it. You're making the right choice. So the first thing you want to ask yourself is, why do I think they're good, right? Like, whose definition of a good am I using? Because a lot of times women will say, well, I should stay with him. He's nice. And other people say he's a good husband. And what you're using as your definition of a good man or a good husband is really what other people are telling you. And other people are like, well, this should be enough for you. But if it's not enough for you, then it's possible that this person is a good man, but it's not good in the way you need. So you got to figure out what your definition of a good man is, because relationships are not one size fits all. And just because somebody is happy with a certain kind of person and they be fine with it doesn't mean you have to be fine with it. So look at this good man, and you can love all the good qualities. That's fine. But ask yourself, what am I missing that I fundamentally need? What am I not feeling that I really need to feel? And get really honest with yourself and look at what's missing. And then ask yourself, from what I know of this person, if I were to communicate my requests to them, if I were to work with them on this, can they really do this? Can they really provide this? Or is what I'm asking, is what I want so different from who they inherently are that even if they tried and tried, they wouldn't be my definition of a good man? And by the way, how you can tell it's a real need and not just something coming from your ego is, think about, if I never had these experiences that I want, these feelings that I want in my life, in a relationship, would I really feel that I truly actually missed out? It's easy to look at other people's relationships, or you see their photos on Instagram and you're like, I want that, I want that. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about really fundamental things that you need, like feeling loved, feeling valued, feeling seen, feeling adventurous, like whatever it is that's really important to you. If you were with this person for the rest of your life and you got to the end of your life and you never had those things that you're realizing are, these are what I really need, would it feel like you'd missed out tremendously? Would it feel like you'd missed the mark on your life? If that's the case, then even if this is a good man, it's probably not the right man for you. And a second question to ask yourself to figure out if you should leave a good man is, what is my capacity to receive love right now? Am I fully open to receive love? Am I in a space where I feel really good with myself and really worthy of love? Do I feel that love should be happy and healthy and safe most of the time? Because sometimes people push away a good man because they really do have relationship blocks or intimacy blocks, or they're avoidant and they can't receive good love because it feels so different to the negative ways they feel about themselves or the negative things they learned love was as a child. But if you're a person who's like, no, like I'm good with myself, really, truly, I've already done some healing, I feel like I have a big capacity to receive love, I'm just not getting everything I want here. That's different than, okay, this person's giving me love and I'm rejecting it because I have unhealed wounds with it. And this is a question you should ask, but people almost never ask it when they're considering leaving somebody, and it's, am I the best match for this person? Am I truly the best match for this person? Am I truly every single thing they want and need? They might be telling you that, like, oh, you're the perfect person. But I really want you to look at, are they getting every single thing they want and need with me truly? Or are they missing out on things that are fundamental to them, but maybe they're just, used to the relationship, used to the comfort, or they just, are okay with settling? Because typically, if the relationship really doesn't fundamentally work with you, it's not one where you get all the things that are essential. The same thing's happening for them, whether they realize it or not. So sometimes envisioning them finding somebody more suited for them can help you realize that maybe the thing to do really is to leave a good man. Just because someone's a good man and maybe they provide, or they haven't abandoned the family, doesn't mean that you are getting all the things you fundamentally want and need. Emotional connection matters too. Passion and intimacy matters too. Having adventures and laughing and being on the same page mentally, emotionally, spiritually, really feeling like you're with somebody who's a true match, really feeling like you're with somebody who you don't get tired of being with them. You just love being with them so much. Like, that matters too. And in my definition, that's really a good man. Somebody who matches all the things that you require. Somebody who meets and exceeds your expectations. I am a love coach that's known for helping women attract what I call a top 1% man. No settling, getting every single thing you really want and more kind of love. My clients attract in relationships and partners so good. People literally are like, how did you find this person? And they're not missing fundamental things in relationship, because I don't believe that you have to settle. So I help them hold the space and heal within so they can attract in somebody who really meets all of their needs. That's real, true love. If you are single and looking for that, or you're leaving a relationship and you want to set the stage so you don't just leave this and then be single forever, or leave this for something slightly better, but you really find that top high level love where you are just so thrilled to be with that person and you're getting everything you want and need and they are too, message me to learn more about private coaching options with me. because I'll never tell you to settle, and I'll actually help you find a good man for you, the right man for you.